need. Look, ultimately, radio advertising and advertising more generally is part of the modern economy, which, let's have an upbeat message really about the economy and capitalism. It's very often said we're in a period of stagnation. We're in a period of economic stagnation where economies around the world are not growing. And very often this is connected up by analysts to a feeling that enormous gains in productivity have meant that we simply, in many product areas, we have what we need. So Apple's sales are flatlining, Toyota's sales are flatlining, Siemens' sales are flatlining, because we have the consumer products, the transport mechanisms, etc., that these people are offering. So we've got sort of enough that the giant factories of the world have satisfied all of our needs. This is nonsense. And the reason it's nonsense is that you're unhappy. And you're unhappy because there are lots of things that you need that you haven't been able to find a product for or a service for. And you can start the list. I mean, when people say, capitalism is finished and we've got everything we need, et cetera, just run through an average day and think of the areas in which you have what you need and the areas where you don't have what you need. So you might start off in the morning, you get up in the morning, you go to the kitchen, and you open the cupboard, and there are 6 packets of cereal staring at you. And in fact, on the aisles of supermarkets, there are 100 varieties of cereal. We have enough cereal. Please don't make any more cereal. We've got enough. We've done that. If you're young and seeking to start a business, don't start a cereal business. We've done it. We've covered that area. But then, shortly after, your partner comes down, and they have a slightly odd tone in their voice, and you go, what's wrong? And they go, I don't know, is anything wrong with you? No, I don't know. And within a few minutes, you're in one of those slightly tetchy encounters that just sets the day off in a sort of odd, you really need to crank up the radio to find a cheerful tune after that. And yet somehow, the emotion is unresolved. Where do you go? You could turn up at, any supermarket, you would not find anything on the shelf for the tetchy mood that you've had with your partner. And on it goes. Many of our deepest needs, our need for friendship, community, belonging, purpose, all of these things are not currently served by capitalism. And this has led some people on the left to say that's because they are not commercial products. Nonsense. Of course they are. Everything is a commercial product in the sense that it is something that one person can provide for another person. That is a commercial product. Remember Abraham Maslow's famous pyramid of needs. Most of the economy is still down at the bottom of that pyramid. At the bottom of the pyramid comes the satisfaction of our basic needs for food and shelter and transport and communication. We're taking good care of that. Most of the FTSE 100 are companies taking care of our needs at the bottom of the pyramid of needs. As we start climbing up the pyramid, you get weirder words. Words like belonging, friendship, freedom, independence, what odd things, right? And you might think, well, what can we possibly do here? My prediction for the economy, and this is going to include advertising, is we'll start to climb that pyramid in time because there is no historic reason why we should be trading products that we don't really believe in and making profits from things we don't really believe in. A good economy is one where we are properly satisfying the underlying appetites of other human beings. And I think we can do that and make money. There is absolutely no conflict between the two. And we've started to see this happening. And a lot of this is going to happen through technology. So think of Facebook. Facebook is now worth, I think, $23 billion. And it's the first company that's really addressing fairly and squarely a need right at the top of Abraham Maslow's pyramid of need, the need for friendship. Right? So it's a company, now you could fault it on all sorts of things, but it's basically targeting our need for friendship and making many, many $billion every year on the back of that. That is, I think, a very encouraging sign. Because for a long time, Campari and others were simply saying, there's the drink and friends, let's stick it together arbitrarily. And then along came Facebook and said, you know what, you could maybe actually just go and have the friends directly. It doesn't matter about the Campari. And I think we're going to see that same move in a lot of areas. Let me tell you just a very brief anecdote. 6 months ago, I was called up by a man called Brian Chesky, never heard of him. And he said to me, I run a company called AirBnB. So I perked up a bit. And I said, oh, right, what do you want? What can I do for you? And he said, well, I've read your stuff, and I'm interested in flying you over to talk to my conference in San Francisco next week. And anyway, he persuaded me by various inducements. I flew over to San Francisco, met with the guy. He is a fascinating man because he's done a survey of people's satisfaction levels on their holidays. And the answers are world-shaking because basically holidays tend to go wrong. Travels tend to go wrong. Most people, over 70% of journeys don't go as they're supposed to have gone. And the travel industry keeps selling us all these promises of calm, of friendship, of reconnection, of romance, etc. but it doesn't necessarily deliver. And this has become, Brian Chesky of Airbnb's, this has become his obsession. How can we make travel deliver on its implicit promises? And you will see, I can't reveal much more, but I've been working with him on this, you will see in about a year's time an entirely new business growing out of Airbnb. Airbnb at the moment, as he says himself, is just putting people on a pillow, putting their heads on pillows. It's not particularly complex and it's not theoretically complicated. The next venture that this man makes is going to be to try and unite the highest goals that we have of travel, which at the end of the day is to be happy in a lot of deep ways, to actually make sure that the mechanisms that we use when we go traveling and the destinations we choose are properly wired up to those higher goals. It's a fascinating move, and we're seeing it in many areas. When I was in California, I also had the pleasure of meeting a man called Reid Hoffman, who runs LinkedIn. And he happened to do a PhD on Aristotle at Oxford University before starting up LinkedIn, and he's fascinated by the deeper purpose of his business. And he knows that LinkedIn in its present form is not doing what it really should be doing, which is to understand its, those who browse the site looking for work and also those who are offering work. It knows that it's just a CV matching system, whereas what it should really be doing is have an ability to peer inside your heart and soul as a worker, understand your true potential, train you up in the ways that you really need to be trained in order to release your full potential, and then find the employer for you that will honor your largest hopes for yourself. Now that's, as it were, the biggest possible dream of what LinkedIn could be. It isn't that yet. It could be, partly through the use of artificial intelligence and a lot of the work that's going on in neuroscience, we're going to be able to move away from a kind of, if you excuse the word, a bullshit economy towards a sincere economy, an honorable economy that is actually delivering things that people really want. The exciting thing for advertising, I think, is that there is now more than ever no need to lie to the audience. Confident advertisers know the true virtues of their products, are able to present those to their audiences in ways that don't excite needs which can't then be fulfilled, and then there's blowback onto the product or advertising more generally. This can be done. Radio is a supreme medium in which to do it. There's lots to be hopeful for in advertising in general, radio in particular, and capitalism as a whole. Thank you very much.